Hi everyone, welcome to Yoga with Lynette. Today I've got a yummy restorative practice for before bed. So maybe you struggle a little bit with sleep sometimes. I hope this can help you find a little bit of ease today. And all you need is just a pillow and your presence. Let's get started. So to begin, you're going to lay on your back and maybe just bring that pillow in between your lower back and your mid back, or just in between your lower back and maybe your bottom. So I want you to bring the soles of your feet together and then just drop your knees down onto the yoga mat into Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined butterfly pose. So maybe your hands are on top of your belly here, or maybe your hands are just draped out on the outside edges of the yoga mat, or maybe your hands are just above your head. Whichever way feels great for you this evening, or whatever time you're practicing, whichever way you are is beautiful. So I just want you to maybe close your eyes here. And when you close your eyes, I want you to take a deep breath in through the nose and then gently breathe out through the mouth as you let go of your thoughts and maybe the day thus far. Maybe take another deep breath in through the nose and then gently exhale through the mouth. And then let's do that one more time. A deep breath in through the nose. And then a deep exhale through the mouth. So if Ujjayi breath is a part of your practice, you can go ahead and start breathing in through the nose and in and out through the nose. Or maybe you find your normal breath here as you start to bring your attention inwards. And when I say bring your attention inwards, what I mean is that maybe let go of any thoughts or anything outside your yoga practice at the moment. Just bring your awareness and your attention on the yoga mat and stay present. Maybe from here, just reach your feet out to release Supta Baddha Konasana. And when you do that, I want you to just reach your right leg up and over, that your knee faces your chest and the foot of that leg is parallel towards the ceiling. And then grab the outside edges of that right foot. And when you do that, maybe your left leg stays down on the yoga mat, or maybe you just bend your knee a little bit and your foot is planted onto the yoga mat, and you just grab a hold of your left thigh with your left hand, or your left hand is just draped outside into a half happy baby pose. So maybe relax your right shoulder here. Make sure your right shoulder is not clenching or forcing its way to your right leg. Relax your right shoulder and don't yank your leg. Just be present in the pose without any pain if possible. So maybe start to play with that leg. Start seeing if you can straighten the leg out. Maybe bend the knee again. Just see if you can find a little bit of play. And when you're done, just lower that right leg down. And let's do that on the other side. So bringing your left leg up and over so that the foot is parallel towards the ceiling. You grab a hold of the outside edges of that foot. And your right leg is either just flat on the yoga mat, or you bend your knee a little bit and the foot is onto the yoga mat, firmly planted onto the yoga mat. And you use your right hand to maybe just grab a hold of your right thigh, or you just leave your right hand draped outside of the yoga mat, whichever way feels comfortable for you. Inhaling through the nose and gently exhaling. Inhale through the nose and gently exhaling. So as you're inhaling and exhaling in your happy baby, and maybe you find a little bit of a play in that leg, I just want you to think about being present and what those words mean to you. Being in the present moment and enjoying the present moment. I just want you to see what comes up for you there in your head. And when you're ready, drop that left leg down and then bring your knees towards your chest, and then give yourself a little bit of a hug. Maybe just stay in this hug here. And then grab a hold of your knees. Your left knee grabs your left leg, your left hand grabs your left knee, and your right hand grabs your right knee. As you start to find or draw circles with those knees, and not forgetting to floint those toes, my friends, because our toes also need exercise. So drawing circles with your knees and maybe reversing that circle. You can go at your own pace here. You may draw big circles or small circles. You may go a little bit faster than I am. Just finding what feels good for your body and sticking with that. And let's meet back in center. And maybe cross your feet over, one over the other. And then you cross your hands as you grab a hold of your right foot. And maybe just grab a hold of your toes here and massage your toes. Or maybe just rub your right foot here. If it's cold where you are, it is cold where I am. So rubbing gently, and then maybe crossing the other foot over the left foot, and then just playing with your toes or rubbing your foot if you're cold. Just sending some love to your little toes and your heels. And when you're ready, just push your knees down onto the yoga mat. And then I want you to just bring your right leg up and over so that your shins are parallel to the ceiling. And then I want you to use your right hand to cross that right leg over the left leg, over your left leg. And then bring your hands into a T. And then look over to your right, a spinal twist, and maybe see if your right leg can lower down all the way to your knee. If you can't, that's totally okay. Your right leg is all right wherever it is, and you're obviously going to start feeling a nice deep stretch in your right quad. So inhaling through the nose here, gently exhaling. So just staying in your spinal twist to the right and thinking about that phrase, I am present, or I enjoy the present moment, or just I am present in my body at the moment. Just seeing what comes up for you and trying really hard to keep your attention or keep your awareness on the yoga mat. Another tip would be to listen in on your body. So as you do these poses, maybe just try and see how your legs feeling, or maybe try and see how your shoulders are feeling. See what it is that you can maybe release a little bit of tension from, that helps you stay away and awake on your yoga mat. Otherwise, if you drift off, that's totally okay. It's part of the practice. If you drift off and you find yourself thinking about that leftover meal in the fridge, you can always just bring your attention back onto the yoga mat, maybe using your breath. So inhaling through the nose and gently exhaling. Inhaling through the nose and gently exhaling. And inhale to start getting ready to bring your leg back up to center and grab a hold of your knee with your right hand. So maybe start drawing a couple of circles with your ankles, finding ankle twists. Just releasing some tension in that right ankle. Maybe reversing the circle. And when you're done, just drop that right leg down, and let's do that on the other side. So making sure your left shin is parallel to the ceiling, and using your left hand to cross that left leg over the right leg, and bringing your arms into a T if they aren't in a T already. Maybe smile here as you turn your head towards the left. So maybe playing and seeing if your left knee can come all the way down to the yoga mat without you having to lift your right glute from the yoga mat. So inhaling through the nose here and gently exhaling as you settle down in your spinal twist on the left. And you see what feels good here, or what position feels good for you. Inhaling through the nose and gently exhaling. So maybe see if the left leg or if a left stretch is any different from the right stretch. Maybe that gives you an indication of which side of your legs feels better in a spinal twist. Inhaling through the nose and gently exhaling as you bring that left leg up again, and you grab a hold of your left knee with your left hand, and then start to draw circles with your left ankle. Maybe reversing that circle. Maybe you floint your toes in the process. And bring your right leg up and over to meet your left leg, and then cross your feet here, and then start to rock and roll from back and forth, seeing if you can rock all the way forward into a cross-legged sit, and then come all the way down into a tabletop position. So maybe putting your proper side here, And bring the big toes to touch and open your knees as wide as the yoga mat to prepare for child's pose. So maybe your pillow is just in between your shins and your bum. Otherwise, if you have sore knees today, my friends, you may bring your pillow underneath your knees to find a little bit of a padding on your knees, and then lower all the way down into a wide child's pose. So your forehead is onto the yoga mat, it's just planted onto the yoga mat. Maybe you find a gentle rock and roll here on your forehead. So maybe just massaging that place in between your eyebrows. As you inhale through the nose, and you can take a deep exhale. And one more deep inhale through the nose. And then a deep exhale out through the nose. Just staying in your child's pose here. And seeing if your attention has drifted elsewhere, or if you've stayed present for the past about 15 minutes. Maybe challenging yourself this time to see how long you can stay present onto the yoga mat and observing your body. So maybe let's use the breath to power us up here, inhaling through the nose and gently exhaling. Inhale through the nose again and gently exhaling. So maybe again start to massage that space in between your eyebrows, just maybe 2 times. And then come back into tabletop position and put your prop aside. And I want you to just bring your knees just a little bit wider than normal, than usual. And then maybe scooch your feet backwards a little. And then maybe start to lower your chest all the way down as you slide your arms all the way out in front of you into puppy pose. So inhaling through the nose in your puppy pose and gently exhaling as you maybe rest your forehead onto the yoga mat. So if your forehead doesn't reach the yoga mat, you might want to readjust yourself. So maybe that your forehead is planted onto the yoga mat. Otherwise, you find what feels comfortable for you. You might even use your pillow to put it underneath your chest or maybe even underneath your forehead. And your arms are just over your pillow, straightened out in front of you. As you inhale through the nose, and gently exhale. So maybe seeing how this pose has changed the sensations in your body and all. And then maybe just slide all the way down onto the yoga mat, onto your belly, and your feet are planted onto the yoga mat. And just maybe lift your head and your chest up a little here to find Sphinx pose. So your chin is just tucked under a little bit. And then in your Sphinx pose, maybe you might just look towards the left shoulder. And then roll your head under as you go and look towards your right shoulder. See if you can look towards the back. And then do that again and go and see if you can look over your left shoulder. And then bring it back down and cross it over to see if you can look towards your right shoulder. And let's meet back in center. And let's find half frog pose on the left. So your left knee just bends a little here halfway, and then your left foot or your left toes are facing the sides of the yoga mat. In your half frog pose, making sure that your shoulders are away from your ears, and make sure here that you're not your weight is distributed evenly through the right and the left, staying active in your half frog pose. So bring your leg back down, and let's find half frog pose on the right, bending your right knee and making sure your right toes are facing on the sides of the yoga mat. Maybe let's draw a couple of circles here with our nose, maybe to find a little bit of a neck release. So maybe taking your breath with you here as you inhale to draw the upper circle, and then exhale to draw the circle under. Inhale to draw the upper circle, and then exhale to reverse the circle. And when you're ready, let's meet back in center and bring your leg out back at the back. And then I want you to just make a pillow with your hands here. So maybe your elbows are reached out, and then maybe just lower your forehead down onto your hands. Just find a little bit of a rest here as you inhale through the nose. And gently exhale as you plant your hands onto the yoga mat and come back up into tabletop position. And tabletop position, as you settle and you find your alignment. Inhaling through the nose here. And maybe just drop your belly down and look up towards the ceiling, cow pose. And then round your spine, chin to chest, cat pose. So today in your cat pose, I just want you to round your shoulders. Maybe draw circles with your shoulders. So maybe as you draw your circle forward, you're in cow pose. And then as you draw your circle backwards, you find cat pose. So basically taking a cat-cow here, taking cat-cow, but whilst you round your shoulders. So maybe finding what feels good and finding a little bit of play. And when you're ready, you can come down into child's pose to just take a little bit of a rest here. Otherwise, you're still playing in your cat-cow and finding what feels good. And when you're in your child's pose, together we all meet there in child's pose. I just want you to walk your hands out to the left and finding that nice deep stretch on the right. And I want you to shift your hands without having to lift them up off the yoga mat. I want you to shift them all over to the right to find a nice deep stretch on the left. And then bring your hands back to center. And start to bring yourself back up into a tabletop position. And then shift your weight back into a downward dog. When you get to your downward dog, we're not here for long. I want you to widen your legs and step your right foot forward, followed by your left foot. And I want you to lower down into Malasana yogic squat. When you lower down into a yogic squat here, your feet are as wide as the yoga mat and your toes are pointed outside the yoga mat and your elbows are pushing the inside of your thighs, and you maybe find a gentle sway from side to side here. And your chest is lifted up a little. Now I want you to plant your left arm down and then reach your right arm up and over. Look up towards the ceiling. And then plant your right arm down here to cross it over and reach your left arm up and look up towards the ceiling. And come back into Malasana, yogic squat. And I want you to lift your weight all the way up into a forward fold, wide-legged forward fold. And from there, I want you to bring your hands onto your shins, halfway lift. And then drop it all the way down, wide-legged forward fold. And now plant your palms onto the yoga mat and step it back into downward facing dog. And shift your weight over into a plank. And then lower your knees down and lower your chest down, and then slide down and swoop up into an upward facing dog. As you inhale through the nose and gently exhale, bend your knees and come back into a downward facing dog. Inhale to lower your knees down and lower your chest down and swoop up into an upward facing dog again. Maybe sway from side to side in your upward facing dog, and then come all the way back into downward facing dog. So maybe lowering your knees down here and then coming into a child's pose. So maybe don't come into a wide-legged child's pose. Just see if you can make yourself very small and your knees are touching as you give yourself a tiny hug and you squeeze yourself inwards in your child's pose. Maybe just staying here for a little bit of a rest. As you inhale through the nose and gently exhale as you see how your heart rate has suddenly changed. And on the next inhale, I want you to bring yourself back all the way down onto your back. Your feet are planted onto the yoga mat. And then maybe you bring bring both your feet onto the yoga mat, to plant them onto the yoga mat, and then cross your left ankle over your right knee. And then maybe grab a hold of the inside of your thigh, your right thigh, and interlace your hands together here as you gently pull your right knee over to your face into a reclined pigeon pose. So maybe just staying here for a little while. Maybe you floint those right toes. And also just see if your shoulders can just relax down, and your right elbow, see if that right elbow can relax down onto the yoga mat. Otherwise, just make sure you relax your shoulders and you are comfortable in your reclined pigeon pose. As you inhale through the nose and lower that leg down. And let's find reclined pigeon pose on the right side. So you bring your right ankle over towards or on top of your left knee. And then you bring your arms inside that little house you've made with your ankle. And then you just interlace your fingers behind your left thigh. And then pull your left thigh gently towards you to find reclined pigeon pose. So inhaling through the nose here and gently exhaling. Inhaling through the nose and gently exhaling. So plant your feet back down and maybe widen your feet as you bring your knees together. And maybe let's windshield wiper our knees. And just playing with your knees as you cross your right knee over to the left. And then you cross the left over to the right. Finding a little bit of a play here. Windshield wiper. you're ready, I want you to just shift your knees all the way up to find a happy baby pose, a full happy baby pose this time. So you grab a hold of both the outside edges of your feet. Maybe you find a little bit of a rock and roll here in your happy baby. So maybe you're just rocking from side to side. Smile just like a happy baby. As you inhale through the nose and gently exhale. Maybe see if you can straighten those legs out in front of you. And if you like, you might even come into plow pose if your body is flexible for this, if your body is ready for it. Otherwise, you just stay in your happy baby, rocking and rolling like a happy baby. And as you inhale through the nose, I want you to get ready to see if you can come into plow pose. So maybe slowly straightening your legs and grabbing a hold of your feet and seeing if your feet can come all the way behind your head and your lower back is lifted up a little here. And your bum's in the air as you find a little bit of a play just before bed, and now see if you can bring your knees back into happy baby pose. And when you're ready, just lower your feet all the way down and bring your feet out into Shavasana, corpse pose, our last pose of the day. And when you're here, I invite you to just close your eyes here and just bring your attention to your heart and see how your heart is beating. See if there's a difference from when you started the practice and now. And then if you like, you can stay in your Shavasana for as long as you need to. Breathing in through the nose and exhaling through the nose. You may even bring a little blanket with you here. Thank you so much, yogis, for practicing with me. Namaste.